So this is the reason why I find these new atheists completely superficial. The only atheist who was brave enough to face the consequences of atheism was Friedrich Nietzsche. He was the only one who understood the complete entailment of atheism.
Yeah.
It meant a complete loss of the moral framework, complete loss of meaning, absolute nihilism at the very end root of it.
Yeah.
And that is a life that is very, very hard to digest, incredibly hard to digest. And so that's why I personally believe that all these, I mean, even Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, he makes it very clear that this new strand of atheism, it's the poorest lot in comparison to the history of atheism. It's the poorest lot. Absolutely pathetic if you compare them to Schopenhauer and Nietzsche, right? And I think that Nietzsche serves as a lesson for particularly for the case of this study, but also for new atheists as well, because Nietzsche was I felt that he was intellectually very honest with himself that if you absorb atheism, fundamentally there is no meaning at the bottom end. There is no meaning at the bottom end, and that's why he came up with this idea of the Ubermech, these supermen. That these supermen have to face this abyss in front of them,
Yeah.
where there's nothing at the end of the barrel, zero, zilch. And
That
I think
is,
that's I think that's the part which cannot be removed because existentially, historically, as well as anthropologically, humans have a yearning for meaning. Humans have always had a yearning for meaning,
yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
so Jean-Paul Sartre, right? He's a famous existentialist, French philosopher, right? So Muslims believe, right? Muslims believe that our purpose precedes our existence. I'll repeat that, right? Our purpose comes before our existence, right? Ar-Rahman, علم القرآن, خلق الإنسان. So Rahman, right? Ar-Rahman, علم القرآن, خلق الإنسان. Allah told us, He told us our purpose before He even created us, right? It's to study the Quran, right? Or basically ingest those principles, those deeply seated principles. And one of the lessons you take away from that is your purpose precedes your existence. What
Mm.
did Jean-Paul Sartre say in his philosophy? He says existence precedes your purpose. Your purpose is whatever you make of it. He
Mm.
switched the boat. He completely switched the boat, right?
Really
And I think,
interesting.
yeah. So this is something that I think that I find in these postmodern thinkers is that one, you have very sophisticated thinkers like Nietzsche who were brutally honest and they put these new atheists to shame. And then Jean-Paul Sartre, and I think Jean-Paul Sartre is the one who I feel was the person who took shahawat to its ultimate desire, that you construct your own meaning. You
Yeah.
exist. That's the starting point. Your meaning is open to whatever you want it to be. You
Mm.
want to live a life where you have no entailments, no obligations to society, go for it. You want to live a life of rock and roll and drugs, go for it. You want to live a life of sex and pure sex, nothing else, go for it. That's the kind of entailment. And what's surprising is, right, this is where the science kicks in really well. We have lived with postmodernism, the sexual revolution, drugs, and all of these cases because of these kinds of philosophies, and the implications that they have been negative for society. We have seen in the West more than any other an increase in divorce rates. We have increase in depression. Mental depression is on the rise. Suicides are on the rise. And I think all of this is because that actual core, which Allah constantly addresses in the Quran, but I feel it's literally this, is that we have forgotten our purpose. Or rather, we have effaced our purpose.